No, I'm fine. This is the
Okay.
one I kind of had in my mind all along.
Yeah, there's one big one I think we have to say, in my
Another
opinion.
team that I can buy in on because I'm so optimistic during the offseason. That's how I'm wired, guys. And I look
Mhm.
at the lineup and I'm like, they could hit a little bit. And then when I get to the starting pitching, it just isn't good. They didn't do a lot to bolster that. So I'm going with the Boston Red Sox.
Okay. I had
I
them on my
legally.
confused team.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing because I do like some of the moves they made. I think signing Justin Turner was one of the most underrated moves of the offseason. I think the Dodgers should have kept him. I don't know if that was like what happened there. Um, I like that move. You go out and get Yoshi. I can't wait to see this dude in the big leagues. I can't wait to see what he can do. It's a difficult transition. I'm optimistic about him. The lineup, they extend Devers. That's a very positive part of the offseason. You lose out on Bogart, so those are kind of, washy right there. But then you get down to the starting pitching. It's not there for me. You talk about being optimistic and thinking best case scenario in the offseason. Chris Sale, Corey Kluber, Nick Pivetta, James Paxton, Garrett Whitlock. It's just not doing it for me in 2023. And I hope these guys prove me wrong because we've seen pitchers, at these, quote unquote older ages come back and have nice seasons, a la Justin Verlander, like this. Max Scherzer's up there in age, and these guys have the pedigree and the prior seasons of good ball to fall back on. But when I look at that rotation and I look at where they ended up in the AL East last year, which was last place, I don't think they really made improvements to get out of the cellar. Like, are they going to be battling the Orioles for fourth place in the AL East? Is that the Red Sox that we're talking about right now?
I
So to
think
me, it's just
I like some of their moves are
they've
good.
kind of
Like
lost
I
because they
like
didn't really
Turner.
do enough to get out of the cellar of the AL East.
Their pitching is crazy, and the fact that they bolstered up the bullpen without helping the staff is insane to me. Mondesi trade that just happened. If that guy's healthy, I think he'll be an absolute pest in Fenway, just running and stealing. And you got to put the ball in play, but then I think he's good. Not great, but they need a shortstop. But where the Red Sox lose this offseason is in being planless, not trying to extend Xander before he becomes a free agent. And because he said he was a little open to it and they didn't even really do anything, spending so much money on what's his the Japanese player that I'm blanking.
Yoshida.
Spending so much money on Yoshida when everyone was like, what? He could be good, but it just feels like they were in their own world and then not knowing about story or having a plan where you have to, everything felt reactionary. Like even the Devers contract felt reactionary to losing Xander by so much.
It felt like they got forced into
it. It felt
that.
like every move the Red Sox made was like Heim was like, oh, fuck, we got to do something. Who's got ideas? And then they just did a move. And nothing felt like this was their plan and they executed their plan. So that's where I think, but they might have some talent and they might win some games. I don't know. I don't like the rotation either.
I feel like Yoshi was part of the plan. And let's see who he is. Let's see who he is. I have no idea, but the problem is the Bogarts, I think they got completely blindsided. I think the new CBA,
misread the market.
the Padres, I think they, it's hard to anticipate that, but that's kind of why you get paid the big bucks to be doing that gig, right? So their lineup in Fenway Park and when the summer gets going, you can believe in that. But you're right. I mean, Sale, Kluber, Paxton, the question's there. I mean, Whitlock, as much as I like him as a young pitcher, to be able to put it as a starter for a full year, I mean, that's a really tough ask for any pitcher in the world. And then it's to our guy, full pension Piv, who he's projected to have a 4.71 ERA this year. So it feels like they added bullpen help this year, which we've been asking the Red Sox to do for a while now. And yeah, Heim, coming over from the Rays family, it almost feels like an old school Rays team where if you looked at this pitching staff for the Rays, you'd be like, okay, like these guys could give you 5 innings. And then if we get it to that Rays bullpen, they tried to get to the bullpen this year. I don't love it as much as an old Rays team, and I don't love the starting pitching. And like you said, Trev, they were last year. So yeah, man, that's I was sniffing it a little bit after last All-Star break. This it's got potential to go up in big flames this year. I don't know, Boston
They
first or last, baby.
they made a lot of moves. That's the thing. So like when teams do that, most of the time you're like, hey, great job. You really, made a concerted effort to improve your roster. You bring in the bullpen help, which I think is good. I think Jansen and Martin are going to be good back there. You get Joey Rodriguez, and then
That's not good.
the lineup you can dream upon. With Trevor Story at shortstop and kind of like a bounce back year, then you're like, okay, I think that news really hurt them as well. You got Kike slotted in as your shortstop right now. Maybe Alberto Mondesi sneaks over there. They just acquired him from the Royals. So, like, I think they're figuring that whole thing out. And I just think about 162 games against a lot of them against AL East foes who are just going to come in, and I feel like they're just going to feast on that pitching staff. Who had a 93 ERA plus. They were bottom of the not bottom of the barrel, but bottom third in the league last year in pitching, and just doesn't seem like it's going to get better to me.
Only other thing in my head right now is if you think about win streaks, because we talk about players and offense, they're out there every day. So if you got a good lineup, good offense, it's to get a good win streak, you need efforts from your starting pitcher. And I'm just picturing being an opposing team. And if you see Kluber, Pivetta, Paxton, like if I'm a bat on the Twins or whatever team I'm on, I'm hoping to have a big boy series like that. That feels like it lines up good for me. And it also feels like you could have a series busted instantly, where if one of those guys gets popped in 3.1 innings, now you're burning bullpen. That has carryovers to the next series. It's a scary formula.
The other team that, I don't know, I just throwing out there, I saw on a lot of lists, we didn't say, was the San Francisco Giants. They were trying to go get Judge, Correa, spent a lot of their offseason courting these guys to get big contracts, and they lost Judge. They weren't able to renegotiate with Correa if they wanted to a lesser, look, would they have wanted him for what the Twins got him for? Probably. If everything got handled differently, maybe that is a possibility. Or maybe you needed two teams to publicly pass on you to then get down to that level. I don't know. But they did make moves. But in an offseason where fans were thinking they were going to jump, they didn't really take that big of a leap. But they did add some people that I think will help them. They got Manea and Stripling. They got Webb and Cobb. So their rotation can still be pretty good. But the offense it's an odd lineup.
And they signed Conforto. They signed Mitch Haniger. They brought in some people. But you're right. I mean, the original Correa news kind of hurt their, the perception of their offseason. Then it kind of got okay, maybe they were right. But yeah, you're right. They missed out on Judge, and now they have an aging roster, a farm system that I don't think is elite. So yeah, they're almost on my tier of where are you at? Where are you at tier? I just made that up.
Nice.
Or did you make that up?
Their offseason fell below expectations. They went to a different plan that I don't think is awful for an offseason, but expectation-wise, I think it's funny we all went 3 AL teams. The American League, man, you start thinking about teams that can really make the World Series, it's kind of a thin bunch right now. The other NL team that I think if they weren't who they were, you could throw them out there, would be the Dodgers, man. The Dodgers lost dudes, but they're the Dodgers. They lost Trey Turner. They lost Justin Turner. Cody Bellinger, Tyler Anderson, who we just talked about, had an amazing year for them. I don't know. I think the parts going out are more than the parts going in, but they're also the Dodgers, so it's almost like oops.